Hi students, this is part 4 of a discussion of the end of the play A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. All right, I found the section of dialogue that I was looking for in the last episode. All right, so here it is. Nora says to Helmer, "Indeed, you were perfectly right. I am not fit for the task. She's not fit for the task to raise the children. There is another task I must undertake first. I must try and educate myself, and you are not the man to help me in that. I must do that for myself, and that is why I am to leave you now." And Helmer says, "What did you say?" Nora, "I must stand alone. If I am to understand myself and everything about me, it is for that reason that I cannot remain with you any longer." She goes on, "I am going away from here now at once. I am sure Christine will take me in for the night." I'm sure Christine will be quite shocked. "You are out of your mind. I won't allow it. I forbid you." Again, he's asserting his power. He forbids her from doing that. "It is no use forbidding me any longer. I will take with me what belongs to myself. I will take nothing from you, either now or later." Helmer says, "What sort of madness is this?" "Tomorrow I shall go home. I mean to my old home. It will be easiest for me to find something to do there." So, again, her father has died, so I'm not sure if I don't think there's a family house, but I think by going home, she means she's going to go back to where she grew up, where she has friends, maybe she has some family. You know, she only had her father. She has no siblings that we know of. I don't think she does. She doesn't mention any. So Nora will go home to her hometown and find some work. It'll be very difficult for her. You know, one reason you could argue that she can't bring the children with her, if you're arguing that she does the right thing and not taking the children with her is also the correct choice. You could argue that she doesn't bring the children with her because she will be quite poor. Destitute even. I don't know where she will live. She doesn't know where she will live. She doesn't know what she will do for work. You know, she's worse off at this point than Christine. She says she will take no money from Torvald. She will only take with her what she brought into the marriage. So she's quite bold and powerful in a way. Noble, you know. She doesn't even ask for money. Modernly, when you divorce a spouse, if, she hasn't been working, she would get some kind of alimony, but, she wants to be completely and utterly separated from her husband, and she doesn't want any obligation to him. That's why she says, I will take with me what I brought to the marriage and nothing else, And back to the children, she can't afford to take Anne-Marie, the nanny, with her. I mean, maybe if Anne-Marie would agree to be destitute, I don't know where they would live, or if Anne-Marie has any circumstances, probably not. But I think by leaving the children with Helmer, it also forces him to be a better father, to pay attention to the children. Maybe he'll change, but I think that if she leaves them where they are, maybe it'll be less of a trauma for the children. But the children will definitely miss their mother, Maybe the fact that she had no mother growing up makes it easier for her to leave the children with their father. The only thing that troubles me is that, she's leaving two sons and a daughter with a man who really, with Torvald, who is the man with the power. And Torvald will not teach the children anything different about society. In fact, he'll reinforce society's morals and values, which he firmly believes in. So the daughter will be like a doll in a doll's house. The children will be like dolls in those houses, and he's the ruler. He's the authoritarian. He's the king of the mansion. He's the He's the leader of the pack, uh, and a strict one at that. One who follows the rules and keeps his position in society at all cost. I think he'd rather lose his wife than lose his job. You know, but he'll have some explaining to do at work. I don't know. He'll probably. It's ironic. He'll probably make up some lie. That would be something interesting to talk about. Maybe he'd say, in those days when women had postpartum depression or any form of difficulty, they would send them to institutions, the sanitarium. They'd send them away. So maybe he'll say Nora went crazy and we sent her away. She's she's in the mental hospital. I don't know. That's a good question. So she goes on to say, she says, "It is for this reason I cannot remain with you any longer." And again, he says, "You're out of your mind. I won't allow it. I forbid you." And he says, "You blind, foolish woman." Again, he is angry and he's lashing out at her. I must try and get some sense, Torvald. To desert your home, your husband, and your children, and you don't consider what people will say. Again, it's all about what people say, not about Nora and what she needs to be a full human being. I must try and get some sense, Torvald. I cannot consider that at all. I only know that it is necessary for me. Again, the strongest counter-argument against Nora might be that she's being selfish. Can she find herself and not leave her children? She could still leave her husband, but could she be close enough to her children in proximity that she could still co-parent? She says no, but I don't know. So again, that might be your strongest counter-argument against Nora's decision to leave. But Nora has always been like a child, treated like a child. She says, I only know that it is necessary for me. Helmer says, it is shocking. This is how you would neglect your most sacred duties? Nora says, what do you consider my most sacred duties? Torvald says, do I need to tell you that? Are they not your duties to your husband and children? Notice that he puts husband first. So her sacred duties, according to him and society, are her duties to her husband and her children, not to herself. I have other duties just as sacred. That you have not. What duties could those be? Duties to myself. Again, he says, before all else, you are a wife and a mother. Nora says, I do not believe that any longer, Torvald. I believe that before all else, I am a reasonable human being, just as you are, or at all events, that I must try and become one. I know quite well, Torvald, that most people will think you are right, and that views of that kind are to be found in books. But I can no longer content with myself what most people say, or what is found in books. I must think things over for myself and get to understand them. And Helmer, he's practically crying. Can you not understand your place in your own home? Have you not a reliable guide in such matters? Have you no religion? I am afraid, Torvald, I do not exactly know what religion is. I know nothing but what the clergyman has said when I was confirmed. I will look into that matter too. I will see if what the clergyman says is true, or at all events if it is true for me. And again, Helmer is just beside himself. He says, have you no moral sense? I assure you, Torvald, that it is not an easy question to answer. I really don't know. The thing perplexes me altogether. I only know that you and I look at it in quite a different light. I am learning too that the law is quite another thing from what I supposed, but I find it impossible to convince myself that the law is right. According to it, a woman has no right to spare her dying father or to save her husband's life. I cannot believe that. And he continues, Torvald Helmer continues to say she's ill, she's delirious. I almost think you're out of your mind. And she says, I have never felt my mind so clear and certain as tonight. And she seems clear and certain. So when she leaves, so, there's a couple more pages of text, but they go back and forth. And when she slams that door, it was momentous back in Ibsen's day because she is slamming the door on her former life, on her life of powerlessness. So I want you to think about how you're going to approach this assignment. What do you want to say about the play? Do you want to talk about Nora and her final decision? Obviously, in whatever you write, you should at least deal with the end of the play because it's so shocking. Do you want to write about the role of men in the play and how they dominate Nora? And again, the counter argument to that would be that Nora is manipulative in her own right. So think about that. I'm going to end that there. You think about Nora's final stand, and then when she slams that door. I'll have one more episode of this final discussion of the play. Take care.